Hey there, I am a New York licensed attorney called GoodLawgic. You are watching Attorney Reacts, and we are about to watch female cop educated before doing the walk of shame. Let's get to it.
Going in here or what?
Oh, most certainly.
Yeah, beautiful.
What are we doing?
We're recording.
Are you supposed to? Are you allowed to?
I
Yes,
read
sir.
the laws and the regulations.
Well, make sure. We have the people's permission. Make sure.
Hello.
You find out that's private back there. That's all private.
That's awesome.
So we're gonna have to leave.
Where's the bathroom at?
It's that way.
We're gonna have to leave. I'm not asking you. I'm telling you, you gotta leave.
Ooh, we're getting aggressive.
You're not
Okay?
telling me
I'm
nothing,
security
buddy.
here, and you've been not authorized to use to film in this area. You need to leave.
In what area?
This is the VA. You need to leave.
I know where I am.
And that's pretty broad. He's saying you can't film anywhere in the VA. That's what's implied by the officer's statement. That's not really accurate. Here's a note to any officers out there. If you see a smug-looking individual coming into a property that you're supposed to be protecting, and it's a federal property, and they have an arrogant look, and you ask them whether they're allowed to be there, if they know the law, and they respond in the affirmative, you should pause and ask yourself whether you are walking into a video just like this one. Ask yourself this question: do you know the law? It's a wise precaution.
We know you're not gonna use this
There's a
one.
bathroom in the waiting
I'll
room.
take a leak right here on the floor.
Well, there's a bathroom in the waiting room. So I'm asking you to please leave.
Well, I'll go to the bathroom, but I'm not leaving the VA.
Yes, you are.
No, I'm not.
Well, they could stay in this area. They can't come back here with private patients.
Yep.
Go back there.
Yep.
Stay right in this lobby.
Well, she called me.
The federal.
Under CFR 1.218, you are permitted to walk around a federal building even without having express consent, provided it's not for commercial advertising purposes. But you must restrict yourself to all publicly available areas. That includes hallways, foyers, corridors, lobbies. So that is the right that he's exercising. And this nurse seems to know that much about the law. So good for her.
Federal law states that we
You
can do.
cannot go where there's private patients.
Right, we understand that. Right.
There you go.
Okay, so you can stay right in this lobby.
It's not really HIPAA, probably. I mean, HIPAA stands for the Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act. HIPAA is the acronym. That's why they call it HIPAA. Most people really don't understand HIPAA. It's really designed to protect patient private medical records more than someone walking around filming. But you can understand that there's a certain right to privacy that people should have when they're being examined. So I'm going to give her a pass on that one and say, good on you. Whether it's HIPAA or not, it's good on you to stand up for that while still allowing him to film in the rest of the VA.
Lobby. There's patients right here. There's patients right here.
This is a
Same
HIPAA,
as-
equipped with a HIPAA filter.
Excuse me.
There's
There's no such thing as a HIPAA. That's good. I like it. I like it. I like these guys.
patients here.
Excuse me.
He's talking. He cannot be in here.
Could we please hold it down?
No.
You're going crazy. Oh yeah, it's a federal law. It's right here.
It's just easy for you to go outside until the VA.
I see. That's convenient. Put the law on the wall.
You're authorized to be here.
Yes, I am.
No, you're not.
Yes, I am.
No, you're not.
Yes, I am. No, I'm not. Yes, I am. No, I'm not.
You're not authorized to be here, sir.
That right
I'm
there
asking
says
you
I
to
am.
leave. If you don't want to leave, I'll just call the
You can
police.
ask. Color.
I am.
And you're gonna get educated.
I kind of feel a little bad for this officer who's trying to evict them because he obviously doesn't know the law. This is not something that he deals with regularly, but it is pretty funny that the law is right there on the wall and no one knows what it says. It really just goes to show, like, why do they even bother? They're going to put it up there on the wall. No one's even reading it.
I don't think he'll be educated either. It's impossible. It's impossible to educate some people.
That's a little harsh.
I think y'all being pretty nasty is what I think.
Well, we get what we get.
We're asking you to do something very simple until the VA police get here and you refuse to do that. I don't understand why.
What are you asking me to
Now,
do?
this is a very interesting question that was just implied there. He said until the VA police get here. It makes you question what his authority is. Is he a security guard? Is he state police. I don't think he's state police. I guess he's a security guard, and I think he realizes that he might be out of his depth. I think he recognized that, and I can respect someone who says, look, there's a lot of things most of us don't know. I don't know everything. He doesn't know everything. So he's asking him for that courtesy. So in that sense, I could feel a little sympathy for this officer. But in order to have the authority to evict them, you need to have someone who has the authority in that jurisdiction, in a building that is under the operation and control of the federal government or some department they're under, like VA police.
A hard time whenever I'm just asking you to come out here until the VA police get here.
Because our right is.
You don't have the right to do everything you want
Yes,
to
we
do.
do.
No, you don't. That's like saying you come to my house
You're
because
not.
you want to.
This ain't your house,
Well, this
bro.
ain't yours either.
That's not a good argument. It's not his house. That's not a good comparison.
Federal law
And I'm not
is right
cussing at
there
you.
on the wall.
You don't have to cuss at me. I'm not cussing at you. I'm being very respectful to you, but you're not being very respectful to me.
Just now because you won't listen.
No, because you won't listen. You're not authorized to be
Do
here,
you
period.
understand what federal law is?
Do you
It's
understand? I
on your
definitely
wall.
understand what federal law means.
It's on the wall, bro.
All right.
It's on
Obviously, you
the
don't
wall.
understand.
Go read the wall.
You'll find out. You will find out today.
There we go. Here comes the local authorities. Now that's very aggressive. That's not right. I'm not condoning that.
Do you have jurisdiction on federal property?
Until they arrive, yes, we do.
You do?
Yes.
Who gave you that authorization?
They have called for our assistance.
Who gave you that authorization?
I just read the thing.
The VA police called you and asked you guys?
Where is it? Can I see it?
Yeah.
It wasn't the VA police. It was probably someone from the VA that called the state police, because these seem like they're state officers, and the authority of state officers to act in a building that's either owned or at least operated by a federal agency. Kind of quasi there, kind of really stretching the limits of your authority there. And this guy knows it.
Right here.
It says here.
No, I got it right here in my pocket, ma'am. You
Okay,
want the
I see
law? Absolutely.
Thank you.
This is federal law 38 CFR 1.218.
Well, it says
Right
from,
there at the top.
Let me read this, and I'm going to read that.
Yeah,
over
it's
again,
at the
okay?
top.
At the top. Okay.
Yep.
Yep. Photographs for advertising may only be taken with the written consent of the head of the facility. Where is that?
Now keep reading, please. Don't stop.
Hang on. I've read it. I'm asking you a question. Where is the written consent from the head of the facility
Right below that.
or designee?
Right below that. Keep reading.
Service animals.
No,
What does it say
no, you
about
jumped too far.
News
Next
purposes?
sentence.
You need written consent. So where is that?
Nope.
at?
Except for
Nope.
news purposes.
Right.
Keep reading it. You're only reading what you want to
I
read.
don't see where it says except for. Where does that say that?
Oh,
Here, let me give you a federal court case that'll
No, no, no.
spell it out.
I'm asking, you said it said except for, so that's what I'm
it's
asking.
not. It doesn't say.
that
It doesn't say
anywhere.
literally except for. From my recollection, it says to the effect of that if you are seeking to use the footage for advertising or commercial purposes, then you need consent from the head individual of the premises that you're on. But if you're using it for news purposes, because of First Amendment freedom of press, well, then you have a right to be there. You don't need to have their consent, which I guess should lead the officer into asking to verifying that it's not going to be used for advertising commercial purposes.
It says photographs for advertising or commercial purposes. Okay, advertising or commercial purposes may be taken only with the written consent of the head of the facility. Okay, there's just you see that little period? Okay.
You see that
So,
period in English?
Advertising and commercial purposes
you
need
other
permission, right? That's what that sentence just said. Advertising and commercial purposes need
There you
consent,
go.
right? Then after that period, it says photographs for news purposes or in other places designated by the head of the facility, okay? It doesn't say anything about photographs for news purposes may be taken with permission, does
Yep.
it? I mean, we all know how to read, right?
He's getting a little snarky now. He's frustrated.
And then I have a federal court case where they go over this, if you guys would like to read that as well.
He's whipping out the law left and right on them.
And let me get to the page here.
Know when you're beaten. Just tap out. Tap out. Tap out. No, don't argue anymore.
No problem.
Okay.
How long do you guys plan on staying here? Because if, you know,
Well, I wanted to talk with the VA police. They said they'd talk with the VA police, so I'd like to talk with them because, as I already know, on VA property, the federal police have jurisdiction.
That's
right?
correct.
And that's why, even if they called you here, let's say they called you here, right, and they didn't want us here, and you charge us with a state trespassing charge, let's say I wouldn't leave, and you charge me with a state trespassing charge, I would go to state court, and they would say, boom, dismissed. Because this is federal property.
Very likely.
Only
That's what
federal
should
law
happen.
applies. That's
I
why
can't
there's
promise you
federal
that's
law
what
on
would
the wall,
happen.
and not state law. Okay.
And when he said
That's what should happen.
I don't, but okay.
No,
That's what you want to think.
I actually sue for it all the
That's
time.
when your qualified immunity crumbles.
There's case law. There's case law.
I'm not gonna argue with you. You guys know everything, so I'm not gonna argue with you.
Well, that's because we have the court cases in our hand.
She says that snarkily, like you guys know everything when they're right. In this context, yeah, they kind of do know a lot more than you did when you walked in the building. Just tap out. I said tap out.
This
Case
is
law.
not the first time that
So what is your purpose of being here today?
To record.
And that's
To
a
do
good
this
question.
purpose. Well,
To verify
we
it's
don't
for
have to
news and not
disclose
for
anything.
It's called
Okay.
freedom of press.
Yeah, and it's
That
called
you
the
went
Fifth
like this,
Amendment.
You took his hand and.
Let me ask you.
First
We're doing it.
I didn't.
We're doing it. We're
freedom of press is the First Amendment, one of the 5 rights enumerated in the First Amendment.
doing
Was it
it.
the First Amendment?
We're
It's the
do,
5 things that the First Amendment guarantees.
Can you
sir.
finish, sir?
we're doing an investigative piece. Okay.
But I asked how long you guys intended on being here.
Well, that just depends. I don't know how long we need.
Okay. Well, the problem that we have is that you're now causing a disturbance.
No, we're not.
No.
No one.
No, you being called here. That's
Yeah,
the
no one's in the lobby.
disturbance.
Who am I causing
Well,
the
there's been
disturbance
several
to?
people that have
Oh,
come
just
by.
tap out.
Okay.
Happened, so.
No one said
So
anything
we're gonna
about me
wait on
causing a
VA police,
disturbance.
okay?
Yeah.
And until they get here, we're all just gonna hang out and be friends.
Because she knows her
I mean, yeah,
jurisdiction there.
if the taxpayers pay for 5 officers to sit around
That's
all
what they
day,
do.
Let you
Yeah.
know right now. I've got
I'll definitely
video
talk that with your boss.
recording.
Can I speak with you just for 1 second?
Yeah, whenever she stops talking, you can talk.
Okay, so if they give authorization in the lobby,
He isn't
do
listening.
you think,
And some of these veterans in here don't think so.
do you think that they think the lobby's empty when they gave us authorization?
Oh, so I guess they figured it only
Is that
permits
what
it
you
if there's
think?
no one there.
I think the lobby's empty.
When they said they can film in the lobby, did they say when there's nobody
They said
there?
you could film a lobby. They said you could be in the lobby. Said you could film.
You said we couldn't be in the building.
Ah, new person.
Nothing. What's going on with you?
I'm wondering how can we help you? My name is Rebecca Mack.
Are you the administrator we were
I'm
waiting
one
on?
of them.
Okay, yeah, we
Oh,
would just come
there you
into
go.
the publicly accessible areas just to do a story. And these people had freaked out on us, called the police. We stayed here and waited and explained to them that, again, it's on the wall, but I also always keep a copy of the CFR, the Code of Federal Regulations, 38 CFR 1.218, that says photographs for news purposes.
In
I
public spaces.
Yep, and I showed them my press pass.
Okay.
All right.
Can I have a picture of that?
Yeah, you should, because that thing might be as valuable
you.
as George
Do you
Washington's
have
ID.
any ID or do you
No,
care to share?
I
There's no such thing as like press ID. There's literally, that's like the most made up thing. This is something that journalists and mainstream media in general, this is something that journalists want the world to believe, that there's such a thing as press ID. There's nothing that can be given out that all of a sudden makes someone part of the press. It just means they work for a company. It's like a business card, but it says media on it or press or whatever it is. I hate that. I hate that. It's like such a made up thing. He literally could have made that in his, you can make it in your backyard. You can just run it off of some printer or something, laminate it, and boom, you're now you're Tucker Carlson or Rachel Maddow or whatever. It's ridiculous.
I usually share because
Nobody issues press passes.
Oh, look at that.
he could.
He's right. No one issues
I have
press
something.
passes.
One of your nurses.
He could.
No, I understand.
Right.
I have something, one of your nurses told me that veterans have rights because they serve, but I don't have rights because I didn't. I've got a big problem.
Yeah, that's got nothing to
Sorry,
do
I
with
wasn't
this.
Party to that conversation.
That's crazy.
Arcane, with my glasses on.
We're good to go. So, you guys have a good day.
I'm out of here. Wah, wah. We're good to
Have a
go.
good day, guys.
You guys have a good day.
Because we got nothing to do here. And there goes the walk of shame.
Take off the blue line flag for it?
Ah, that's so sad. There's good effort
Yep.
there.
When I need something from you, I'll call you.
That was certainly something. The moral of the story here is that if you're going to try to stand up to someone who's being a bit of a smug kind of jerk and he's flashing a camera around, just look through your brain and ask yourself, do you really know? Are you positive? Are you positive that you know what the law is? Because you know you're being filmed, and that if you're going to blow it, you're going to end up on video here. The one comment I want to say about the way these guys handle themselves is while they were a little bit aggressive at times, there was never a tone of being threatening. Even if you're dealing with a police officer who's in the wrong, completely in the wrong. At the end of the day, what I like about these guys is that they showed relative levels of respect, even though the officers were in the wrong. And rather than getting aggressive and potentially putting themselves at risk of being harmed by a police officer who believes that they're in the right, it's always wise to make sure that you're going to recognize the authority, the implicit authority of a police officer, rather than to be confrontational. So you can stand up and say what your rights are and why it is that you're allowed to do what you're doing, and point out to an officer where they're in the wrong, but always be careful to make sure that you're not posing what could be deemed a physical threat to any police officer. Great job, guys. Let me know in the comments whether you think that the cop was out of line or too aggressive. Which side here did you think was actually pushing too hard? Make sure you leave a like, you share, you subscribe, all that good stuff. And I will see you next time on Attorney Reacts.
Big verdict.